Hi there and welcome to another one of my videos. Today I'm going to be discussing free will versus forced morality. Is it better to be forced to do good, or is it better to have the freedom and do bad things? So this is quite a weird topic maybe, or an abstract topic, and it didn't come to me all on its own. I got it from this book, which is A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. It's quite a famous book. It was published 1962, and it's also quite famous for being pretty violent. There's a lot of violence happening in this book, and if you look past the kind of violence on the surface, there's quite a lot of philosophy going on as well. Philosophy that I'm probably way too underqualified to be talking about, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So, about this forced morality versus freedom to do bad things. This is introduced to us quite clearly, and it's made quite obvious as a topic in the book as well. So I would like to read for you actually a quote from the book that I think transmits this pretty well. And it is as follows. Is a man who chooses the bad perhaps in some way better than a man who has the good imposed upon him? So this makes it pretty clear, and it's kind of hard to choose, or at least at first you kind of have no way to weigh these two things against each other. They're both pretty abstract, and so how do you weigh one against another? The way that you, in the end, at least what happened to me while I was reading this book, it came to me to kind of evaluate them based on their humanity. While reading, you realize that what makes us human isn't just our capacity for good. What makes us human is our ability to choose between good and evil. If that freedom of choice is taken away from us, even if it is in the name of making us better people or to make us better, we lose something essential to our humanity. So choosing is actually what makes us human, and not necessarily choosing the good thing is what makes us human. Doing the right thing only because you are conditioned or only because you are forced to doesn't necessarily warrant it to be moral. That's just obedience, and obedience has nothing to do with morality necessarily. Morality, if someone, let's say it like this, if someone has not the possibility of doing something bad, then they should also not get the credit for not doing something bad. If someone is stuck on a deserted island with no humans around, they don't deserve any credit for not assaulting another human being, because there is no other human being to even assault. But on the other hand, a person living in a society that has an opportunity every day to assault someone, and they don't do it, on the other hand, this person has been way more, or deserves the moral credit, so to say, for doing good. So virtue in any meaningful sense requires the condition of a choice. If you don't have a choice, you don't have any moral struggle, and there is no morality without a moral struggle. We also notice while reading the book how important to us it is that a person has this agency in their life. Without this agency, we lose quite a lot that makes us human. And it's, once again, this is also like made pretty obvious in the book. There's a quote as well that I think is pretty famous, and it goes like this: when a man cannot choose, he ceases to be a man. And this is what we just said, that a big part of what makes us human is our autonomy, our ability to choose between good and evil. And so there's no morality without a choice. Another thing that I thought was interesting about this book is that while reading it, there's this guy doing heinous acts of violence. And in the end you sympathize for him. He's terrible. Like, he's a terrible person, and if he had the choice, if he had this freedom of choice, he would continue to be terrible. But because of what is done to him, the way he is conditioned, so that his ability to act freely, to spend his one and only life that he gets the way he wants, is completely taken away from him. He ceases to be a human, and he becomes this kind of hollow being that can only be doing certain things and not do any bad things at all. His freedom is completely taken away from him, and you start to sympathize with this guy that normally would be really a bad person. And so you notice how important to you personally, even, how this concept of a choice between good and evil might even weigh out the weight of a good outcome. The choice to choose between the two might be more important for you as a human than just the one. Now, let's also be a bit realistic or a bit utilitarian. We cannot just think theoretically always about these kinds of things. We also need to be a little bit practical. If you are in an alley being beaten half to death because someone wants to rob your phone, in that case, this kind of philosophy and theory stuff stops to matter to you real quick. In this situation, you would just prefer that this person was not able to do this kind of things and would not be able to assault you. You don't care about their freedom of choice in that scenario. You just want them to stop beating you up. So obviously we have to be real, and we do have to care about the outcome. We do need to find a way to enforce it, and we do need to find a way to establish what is right and wrong. But keeping in mind, of course, this aspect of the freedom of choice that we still like, so that we don't degenerate into some form of authoritarian dystopia or whatever. I'm very sorry, by the way, if the audio is terrible, because I need to keep my window open because it's absolutely boiling in here. I'm already sweating, so I'm sorry about that. I hope it's not too bad. Another thing that I thought about this book, when you think about enforcing behavior or manipulating the people in the society so that they act in a desirable way, there's many ways of going about it. You could enforce laws, or the rule of law, pretty common. We have laws. You could also consider a religious authority to establish what is right and wrong. You could also have a religious authority not just deciding what is absolute morality, but also enforcing this morality. This happens in some places. But even in that, I was thinking that if you take the example of doing good, if you're only doing good because you are threatened with an eternity of being roasted in hell, how much credit do you actually deserve for doing these good things? If you're only behaving in a virtuous and in a moral way because you are threatened by an eternity of being tortured in hell, then I don't know how much credit you actually deserve for doing any good things. But this is a different topic as well. Another thing, and this is the last thing I kind of have to bring up, that this book reminded me of, was I saw this YouTube video, or this clip, I don't remember, from a philosopher. I think he sounded Eastern European, and he had a bunch of tics. He was doing this a lot, and yeah, stuff like that. He has a lot of tics. I don't remember his name. Maybe someone in the comments knows. But he gave this great example of a parent trying to take their child to see the grandparents. And so the child doesn't want to go see their grandparents. And so the parent has kind of two options. One way, he can just order the child. And this is like the old school authoritarian way of doing it. You can just tell the child, I don't care if you like it or not, you're going and you're going to say hi to your grandparents, you're going to see how they're doing, and that's it. End of story. You're going to go whether you like it or not. So in this scenario, the child is forced to go, but they still have the freedom of not enjoying it, or they have the freedom of not wanting to go still. Then there's the second option. This is more the modern parenting alternative, where the parent says, "Oh, of course, you are free to choose exactly how you want, but consider this: your grandparents really want to see you. They have been looking forward to this, and you know how they are getting older now, and we don't know how much time they have left. So choose whatever you want, but keep this in mind." Now, in this second option, the child not only will have to basically end up going, but he is also, or she is also, kind of obligated to like it, because in the first scenario it was enough, you're just being forced to go, but you don't have to like it, you know. But in the second option, there's a kind of moral or emotional manipulation going on, in which the child is not is maybe forced even more, because the child is forced to want to go. Because if it chooses not to go, the child is not stupid, then it knows that it's a bad person, basically. And so this is maybe a more devious, and on a deeper level it's more how would you say, more a violation of the child's right than in the first scenario. So I thought it was interesting how we need to consider what is the best way to get a desired outcome, how to enforce morality on people in a way that still respects the human essence, that is freedom of choice. And because without the freedom of choice we cannot have a morality either. So that was kind of all for my rambling. I hope the noise was not too bad with the window open. And that was all from me. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.